Hello, and good morning. Welcome back to another morning show. This is your morning life coach, Tanner DeWitt from Talk to Tanner Coaching, and the show where we go over tips, tricks, ideas on how to become a better version of ourselves. We're going to be pulling out different examples, formats, easy to remember terminology for ourselves to apply in our own lives and our own investing strategies to become the very best version of ourselves. Why? So we can be the best version for the people we love and we care about most. Remember, that's who we're doing this all for, and that's why we do what we do. So, into today's show, we're going to talk about real estate a little bit more. So, if you are a student to real estate, however, this formula, CTN, criteria terms network, the challenge would be to use this acronym for your own life, for your own investing, because it goes beyond real estate. But this is where I have been using the model more than anything. Additionally, I use this for business, but there's something beautiful about real estate and how the examples are pretty easy to go along with, and it matches a lot with what we're trying to do. So, criteria terms network, CTN, in real estate investing. So, what does CTN mean? Well, we're just going to go ahead and break down each term just a little bit so you are a little more familiar with it on this brief morning show. And if you have any other further questions, you can always request over at talktotanner.com to have a meeting with me. You can always write on our social media pages, everything Talk to Tanner, whether we're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all Talk to Tanner with the number 2 in it. So CTN, the terms that go through for real estate. Good morning. Good morning. First off, we have criteria. Criteria is the potential, the terms that we need to have laid out to know if we have something true for potential to purchase, to invest our time, effort, or energy in. Our most valuable resources, right? Time and energy being that tied with our effort. So criteria, think of this being the first one on the mark. And this is the terms that you're setting beforehand, kind of like the rough game plan of what it is that you do want to do. How do you want to go about it? What returns do you want? So, what would be some examples of criteria in real estate? So, usually the first one is something about money, criteria being about money. So, whether you're getting into a business or whether you're buying, like we're talking about today, investment rental property, we're going to want to know your investment criteria right off the bat. So on year one, and this is when it can get a little tripped up. So if you have any additional further questions, please don't hesitate to ask or reach out to me. On year one, for criteria, I want to see at least a 12% cash on cash return. Okay, it's like, okay, Tanner, what the hell is a cash on cash return? Well, cash on cash return is, so if I were to throw money out at something, I'd want 12% of it back. 12% of it back. So if I threw out $100, I'd want $12 back by the end of the year. And you're thinking, why would I throw away $100 to get $12? Well, you don't lose the $12 when you buy something. So say if you buy a house, you buy some stocks, you buy a company, that company still, that money doesn't just go poof and go away. Like the $100 is in the property through the bank, through the title work. You have $100 still in there that you own, but then you get $12 in literal cash back, and that's your 12%. So having some type of investment return in mind, they say in the stock market, they talk about 7%, this and that. And it varies too much, and it's all about buying when it's really low. But we're not going to go into that on how that's not how that really works. But anyway, you need to have terms coming up, but criteria being the preface of it. What do you want to see out of this to know if you potentially can have it? So, for example, my criteria would be it needs to be a small multifamily. It needs to have at least 2 units. The smallest property that I own has a duplex. So at least 2 units. It needs to produce at least a 12% return. And then you can go off and you can list it further, which I have sheets that you can use to check out of if you do want an exercise and you do want to just use the checklist that I use, such as the structure, the foundation, the roof, and stuff like that. Are you willing to put in new windows into it? Are you willing to have it in a certain neighborhood? That one's always very important. I like to buy my rentals close to the schools because that's where we put most of our money in my town where I invest in, is in our school systems. It's majority family basis. So I want to be closer to the schools so I can guarantee that somebody's going to want to move in and rent my property. These types of things would be criteria, the standards that you're setting, what you're going to want in the beginning before you would even say yes to a property. So the potential criteria being the first and foremost thing. Next up is terms. So the terms of the deal. So I have found a duplex close to a middle school that's going to give me a 12% cash on cash return, meeting all of my criteria. We found the big kahuna. We found what we wanted. Woo! It's time to put a contract together. So now we have terms of a deal. Terms of a deal, meaning these are such as how much money are you putting down? What day are you closing? When are all of the bills due? Who's covering what? Do you get to keep all the stuff in the property? Do they have to evict somebody out of the property? Something along those lines. These are the terms of who's doing what, who's responsible for what while you put a deal together. And lastly, network being who's going to do what for you, who's going to support you on the deal. So who will support you on this deal? So terms being who gets what at what purchase price are we fully agreeing on, because that'll affect your criteria, right? With the return that you want. What date? How much do you have financing? Are you buying this thing in cash? Do you have someone who's going to be giving you a loan for 80%, 75%, 90%? So what percentage, how much money are you bringing to the table? So if my loan officer gives me an 80% loan to value, he's going to loan up $80,000 on a house that's worth 100, and then I'm going to have to come up with 20. So determining how much money you're going to have to bring to the table, dollar for dollar, and if it matches your returns. And then finally, network. Who's going to do what? Do you have someone who can work on the furnace? Do you have someone who can help you clean the property? Do you have trash in the house that needs to be thrown away? I've just been dealing with that. Man, I filled two 15-yard dumpsters from one tenant in a little 2-bedroom apartment. Absolutely insanity. So you're going to run into things. And if you have questions on these, who you need to support you, I would highly recommend going to biggerpockets.com. I would love for you to set up a coaching session with me if you want direct one-on-one attention. But if you're doing general reading, I have learned most of what I've learned from real estate, from books, and from websites like biggerpockets.com, which was great for starting out investors and kind of making checklists and stuff like that. Because I highly recommend you having a network checklist to see who you need to support you. Because I know I'm just not a very handy guy. Like, I'm not scared to get down there and like work on the toilet, like replace sinks and this and that and rip up flooring. But laying floors, like doing drywall and that kind of stuff, is where I'm not as proficient at. So I have to have a network, people who can help me get the jobs done in a clean, efficient, and cost manner way. So this was over. We went over a little bit today. I wanted to do a little deep dive specifically on CTN because I use it every day when I'm looking at properties, when I'm negotiating deals, and when I'm trying to find a team to make sure that I can actually get the deal done. Because you don't want to just be like, okay, I found something that's going to give me a 25% cash on cash return in year one, which is great. And I negotiated that he's going to get everything out. He's going to evict and he's going to find me new tenants. I have these great terms, but I don't have a team of people who can help me. That's where it could get jumbled up, because you got to have all three of these pieces together. And that's why we wanted to go into them on a little deeper dive. But the challenge would be for you to make sure that you're doing your preparation on your investments. You have set criteria. You know what it is that you want. And then when you actually find what you want, you know how to negotiate and make sure that you can legally, through a contract. It's America. Well, the whole world lives by paperwork nowadays. So making sure that paperwork is tight. Talk to an attorney. I thought I could swindle and deal and just do deals without attorneys and stuff. And then I got bit. And I had to pay like a couple grand in closing costs. Learned my lesson. So if you can, making sure that's all tight, talk to an attorney on the terms, make sure everything's clear to go, and then put together a network. Ask other real estate investors in your area if they know anyone who can help you in your network. Just looking up, go to Google, type in what you need, and make a list of 3 or 4 people who do everything, such as the gutters, such as the roofing, such as the siding, such as the flooring, such as the drywall, who can rent you out a dumpster if you got trash in there. All the shit you can think of, just start mustering up a list of everyone who you think you'll need, because no man is an island. Gosh dang it. I remembered this poem by heart. I can't remember it right this second. A little too early for me, I guess. But anyway, no man is an island, and I have shitloads of love and support from people who I care about, and I'm beyond grateful, because you can't do it on your own, no matter how Superman you think you are, or Superwoman. It takes a village, and remember that, and check that stuff out ahead of time. So CTN, criteria, the potential terms, actually locking it in the contract, and network, who's going to support you around. That's it for us today. If you have any further questions on this, on how to apply this outside of real estate, such as for a business, or when you're going to invest in, say, stocks or something else like that, please never hesitate to reach out. I'm always open to brainstorm and learning about how you guys are trying to hustle and bustle and make money for yourselves and for your family, to make ourselves a better version for the people we love and care about most. Here at Talk to Tanner, this is episode 114, CTN, Criteria Terms Network. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and I hope you all had a fantastic Labor Day weekend. I didn't even say congratulations or cheers to that, but we'll be back again Wednesday morning at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. Cheers, friends. Till next time. Should we play some music on the way out? I don't even think anyone's watching right now, and that's okay. We're going to still keep doing this until it's done, until it's to our satisfaction. We're going to keep rolling, keep trucking, keep kicking ass, and keep kicking names. Taking names. Until next time, see you guys on the morning.